today, the Sussex soap opera delivered yet another plot twist. The US government will appear in court next week to answer questions about Prince Harry's visa application after a fast-track freedom of information request about its contents was denied. See, it's not quite clear how the American embassy reconciled its zero-tolerance drug policy with the contents of Harry's tell-all memoir Spare, which is back on my desk, because in this, he admitted to indulging in a host of illegal substances, including marijuana, magic mushrooms, and cocaine. There's another thing, and cocaine, in his own words. Have a listen.
Of course, I had been doing cocaine around this time. At someone's country house, during a shooting weekend. I'd been offered a line, and I'd done a few more since.
There you are. I'm joined now by TalkTV royal commentator Rupert Bell, and live from LA, the host of To Die For daily podcast, Kinsey Schofield. Kins, I'll have to start with you. So the US don't want to release the visa application, and we over here, who love a drama, do. Where do you stand on this, and do you think they should? What's your feeling?
You know, I don't know what the real objective is, because are we really going to kick him out of the country? There's no way. And the feedback that I'm getting on social media is that Britain doesn't want him back anyway. But I don't know what the real objective is here, because nothing realistically is going to happen. He's not going to get removed from the United States of America. Is this all just a show? I'm curious to know, because I know at the end of the day, he's not going to be asked to leave. He's married to a citizen of the United States of America. He's a prince, so he's also very good friends with the Biden administration. I just think it's all kind of for show, if I'm being honest with you.
I think it's really interesting. If I can bring Rupert in. Rupert, thank you for coming on the show tonight. Why do the British want this? This insatiable desire on this side of the country to knock the ginger whinger. For me, I was under the impression that if you had a drugs conviction, you couldn't go and stay in America. He's admitted to taking them. That's the difference between that and a conviction. But I do think people over here are probably thinking, one rule for you, you horrible man, and one rule for us. Is that part of it?
Well, I think there does seem to be, because he's opened himself up for all these accusations with his drug use and everything, that it does leave himself open for people to try and produce these kind of, freedom of information. You know, he has exposed himself to this situation by his revelations and what he said in the book and the Netflix documentary, and that is creating the problem. I agree. I don't think he will be booted out. I hope whatever he declared, it was above board, but it's because or his sort of publicity that has been generated around him, he's left himself vulnerable to something like this happening. And I can't see him coming back to this country, but again, it's sort of creating element to the Sussex's life.
And I think that's the point, Rupert and Kinsey. But Rupert, firstly, I mean, for me, you know, we want privacy. We're going to America. Oh, we don't want privacy. We want $100 million. Oh, we've done this, we've done that. They have turned themselves, if you like, from royals into celebrities. And anybody who's in the public eye knows that if you're in the public eye, with it comes scrutiny. And if you then write a bloody book, Kinsey, I have to say you first, by the way, if you write a book saying I've taken drugs and you're a prince, people are going to want to know more, aren't they?
Well, you're exactly right, Jeremy. Harry and Meghan like attention as long as they're in control of that attention, and it's attention that they're offering up, their publicist is in charge of. I can tell you right now, Harry's not necessarily concerned about this incident, but I have heard that he's frustrated by the negative attention, because it's not attention that he pursued. It's not attention that he can control. And I think, Rupert's got a point. You can't go spill all sorts of secrets about your family and really paint them in such a negative picture, and not have people look around and go, wait, this is the same guy that was naked in Vegas. This is the same guy that wore the Nazi uniform. There is such a focus on him now, because he can't shut his mouth and stop talking about other people.
And the other thing is, Rupert, that he has undoubtedly lied before, right? He lied in his book. So other people in this country, which might interest Americans, are thinking, has he actually been totally truthful about the misdemeanors? Are there more drugs? Are there more revelations? Has he just let out enough, Rue, because that sold the book? Is there more to come? Don't know.
I don't know whether there's more to come, but he's always created the recollections may vary scenario. That's it. And
what, because it's off his head or something?
It's his. Well, basically, all these stories that he's been coming out with, yes, there may be variations and versions of what exactly happened. But because he's done this, because he knows he's had to do this to create his lifestyle in America by selling, I don't know whether it's his soul, but he felt that he had a story to tell, so it was worth something on the open market. So he's made significant money. But where does he go from here? And he will be under constant scrutiny. And the problem is, what does he do now? Where is the end game for him? Because he likes the trimmings of his life being the Duke of Sussex, and she likes being the Duchess of Sussex, but they don't like the trappings of the royal family. So at that moment, they're caught. And that is why everybody is intrigued with what he is doing with his life and why everything is being analysed.
Before I move on to my next question, I want to salute the person that created my favourite banner for a long time, His Royal Highness. Absolutely fantastic. Going back to you, Roo, we hear this week... Now, he's coming to town, isn't he? We're not going to get involved in the court case scenario, but he's coming to town. And lo and behold, the King's going on a solo hiking trip to Transylvania, which, I mean, that sounds really fun. I would suggest, and you're both going to tell me I'm wrong, I'm going to suggest something, right? I think that the coronation date, May the 6th, was done specifically because the palace and the king knew it was Archie's birthday and Dragonora wouldn't turn up. I suspect he's gone hiking because he doesn't want anything to do with the Ginger Whinger. Rupert Bell?
No, I'm going to probably say that he loves Romania. It is something that he's been involved with for a very long time, since the late 80s, and he makes these unexpected visits at all times, and he has done for a long time. So and he's much loved over there as well. So and I think it's going to be the perfect opportunity for him to unwind post-coronation before we go into another series of sort of public events for him, which I think might begin with appearing at the Derby on Saturday, then there's Royal Ascot. But for him going to Transylvania, that is something very close to his heart, where he would just unwind on his own while his wife stays in this country.
I might suggest, Kinsey, as a father of 5 children, 2 boys, that if I was in a place that King Charles finds himself in with Harry, that I wouldn't go to Transylvania with respect if I wanted to make it up with my son. I'm sorry to disagree with you, Belly, but I think that he would put aside a walking trip, however loved he is in Transylvania at all. I will be putting that aside. To me, this speaks volumes that he probably, the king, doesn't want all the negative press attention that his dreadful son brings with him, isn't it? Isn't that the truth?
I mean, in the last few weeks, months, you're absolutely right. It is drama that surrounds the Sussexes, whether it is an exaggerated car chase, whether it's continued litigation, whether it's questions on if they're going to get booted out of the country. I mean, I think you're right. I think that the royal family is distancing themselves from Harry because they don't trust him. There's a sense of desperation in him spilling all of these secrets.
Listen, we did a poll. Harry, of course, revealed his extensive drug use, it says here in his memoir, Spare, yet was granted a visa to the United States of America. So we asked, should the US reveal the details of this visa application? This sums up why everybody loves the royal story on JK Live. Yes, most people, 89%. Annabelle, I guess when you have a lot of money, or if you're a famous person, the law doesn't really apply to you. Mel, I'm not a Harry fan at all, but I don't think that recreational drug use should mean you're thrown out of a country. Kiernan, Harry is all for the truth coming out, isn't he? Try his own. Carol, he should be treated the same as everyone else. Amy Winehouse was refused entry for her drug use. Really salient point. Stephen, nothing will happen. Celebrities and royalties have different rules. Amy Winehouse was denied entry into the US. That's a very good point.
Well, I mean, Amy Winehouse was... Harry is like, I smoke a bowl every once in a while. Amy Winehouse was on a different level. No offense to Amy Winehouse. I love her. But I do think that Harry isn't as aggressive in his drug use.
One final very quick question, because Dave's shouting at me, but I'm going to ignore him because he's not the boss. James Corden, yawn, has decided to give up his programme and come back to England. No sooner was he back in England, he's back in LA visiting Prince Harry. Is he trying to make himself important again or in the public eye? What's going on? I thought he'd come back here. James Corden? Really? What?
Oh, is that if that's for me? Yeah, I think that. Go ahead, Rupert.
Well, I just think he's lost in the spotlight, and for Harry, feels that being with James Corden might be good for his image. But I think it's a dangerous one because James Corden press hasn't been all that brilliant over recent months.
Kinsey, final word. And I'll say this about Corden, right? I will say this because I've met him a couple of times. An unbelievable talent. I suspect when you get to America, it becomes more and more difficult. I actually personally think it will be good if he came back here and did some work. But I was just a little bit surprised to think you go from this big leaving do and suddenly you're back there after about 3 weeks. Maybe a family holiday.
I'm going to say it here first on JK Live. I think they're working on something. I think they're going to do something else together, Harry and James. You know, watch this space. I think that's what's coming up. OK, well, there you go. You see, there you are, a world exclusive, in brackets maybe, with Kinsey Schofield. Rupert, Kins, you're very grateful. Thank you very much indeed.